Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Before you, we have the Ellison Preschool Group Project brought to you by Ball State University, Class 610. The BCBA members in training for this project are Becca Bailey, Selena Bernal, Megan Daniels, Adam Garcia, which is me, Maria Haig, and Brittany York. Let me give you a little bit of background for the Ellison Preschool. This school has 200 students, which is ages of 3 to 5, with 150 of them requiring special education. A third of the 150 students receive speech therapy. Each classroom has about 12 students, one teacher, and two teacher assistants. There are volunteers that come to help throughout the building as well. The biggest issue in the classroom is communication. Children tantruming and fighting over toys occurs daily. The students tend to grab toys from one another, which leads to previously mentioned maladaptive behaviors. Our proposed intervention is functional communication training. Functional communication training is an intervention where individuals are taught to use a communicative response in place of a target or maladaptive behavior. The functional communication replaces the need to act as an inappropriate or unacceptable way and serves as another way to reach the same end goal as the target behavior. Through practice, children will learn that utilizing FCT will be an easier way to communicate rather than having to always engage in fighting or tantrums. Initially, FCT requires high levels of prompts, which can be done through verbal prompts or physical prompts if using PEX signs or ACD. By teaching children to utilize FCT and teaching adults to promote and honor it, the children will have less of a reason to engage in the target behaviors and be more likely to communicate in other ways. FCT is quite broad, but the reason we are implementing a broad structure is because each child is different, and some kids might catch on with PECs while others require an augmentative communication device. Next is a list of articles used to back up our proposal of FCT. First we have Casey and Miracle, 2006, reported a decrease in maladaptive behaviors in the classroom where FCT was implemented. There was not a notable change in behavior in those settings where no intervention was in place. The study showed that FCT is a valuable treatment option in the school setting when used alone. As for the Mansell and Conroy, the purpose of the study was to decrease problem behaviors like tantrums while increasing communication like MANS by the use of FCT in a home setting. The results indicated that FCT helped decrease problem behavior while dramatically increasing communication. As for Mansell and Bowman, the practitioner article describes the use of FCT in the classroom and addresses the communication and behavior needs of children with ASD, which details the three-step process that should be followed when using FCT. Next up, we have Shields. The researchers found that the procedures decreased aggression and self-injury across all participants. They also found that FCT decreased the non-targeted behaviors like screaming, crying, elopement, stuff like that. As for Henley, studied the use of FCT as a replacement behavior for aggressive behaviors, which were reinforced by attention and access to tangibles. The study found that after the intervention, 5 of the 6 children utilized FCT in at least 8% of the opportunities. Pretty awesome. As for Durand, this study used FCT in a typical classroom setting. The target behavior decreased after its implementation. It was also determined that FCT had long-term benefits that timeouts did not have due to the replacement of target behaviors. In order to implement FCT properly, 3 steps must be followed. First step being conduct an FBA, which includes indirect, which would be checklists, questionnaires, and interviews, and direct, which is ABC data measures. This step allows the teachers to determine what the function of the behavior could be and to understand why the child is engaging in challenging behaviors. Once that is complete, we move on to step 2, which is choose the communication mode. It can be verbal language, picture communication, gestures, or assistive technology. The 3 factors that should be considered when choosing a mode of communication are children's capabilities, the ease of teaching the skill to the child, and determining if other individuals will be able to understand the communication. Once that is complete, you move on to step 3, which is develop a treatment plan. This includes teaching the communication skill to the child, who is rewarded for using the appropriate language. The maladaptive behavior is put on extinction, that is, the child is no longer rewarded for engaging in the target behavior. The materials required for this to be successful would be the FBA materials, which would be the questionnaires, ABC data sheets, interview data sheets, other stuff like that. After that, you'll have the augmentative communication devices, the picture exchange communication systems, which is like PECs, or any other form of communication based on each individual's needs. After that, you must find the reinforcer, which would be edibles like food, snacks, or even sensory toys like tickles or music, and even tangibles like stickers. You'll even have activities that you can use, or even social praise like high fives. Finally, you'll even have data sheets, what we'll use during the intervention to collect data on the target behavior, the replacement behavior, and other relevant information like your antecedent, your consequences, your prompts. It'll give you all that information required. All right. Since the kids have volunteers, which are basically the parents will be taught to implement FCT at schools and at home. This creates a two birds, one stone kind of scenario. The first thing they'd have to do is collect baseline data, which will determine the antecedent and the target behavior and the consequences and see what exactly is going on. After that, we have to do a preference assessment to see what exactly is reinforcing the child. Third, we will have the communication system and decide on what exactly we will be using for that child. And last, we will do the implementation to see if it is successful. FCT may be difficult to implement in a school setting, especially with lots of children, but we are a team made up of BCBAs. Therefore, we will be teaching the staff how to collect data, choose the right information, and selecting the right communication system and implementing the FCT. In other words, we will be observing the entire process to make sure it is being conducted properly. Last, we have the list of references we used to create our proposal. Thanks for listening.